Hi everyone and welcome to Module 4. For Module 4, you're going to be reading Chapters 7 and 8. I've included an introduction to what we'll be covering this week. Here's the chapter titles that we're going to be reviewing. Here's the PowerPoints. Here's some very helpful videos I think you'll find helpful in terms of the shifts of the graph that you're going to be experiencing. Here's quiz number 2. Quiz number 2 is going to be 25 multiple choice questions. It's going to be, you have 2 attempts, and I take the highest of the 2 attempts. I wanted to go over some of the concepts in Chapter 7. We look at Chapter 7, we're looking at consumer surplus. Consumer surplus is looking at what consumers are willing to buy, or what are they willing to pay minus what they have to pay. All consumers have to make a decision on what they're willing to buy and what they purchase, but it's a challenging decision because they have to evaluate this decision based off of their ability or their willingness. And their willingness is very important because their willingness will make those appropriate changes. If you look at this table right here, you'll notice we have 4 different buyers: John, Paul, George, and Ringo. And they all have a different willingness to pay. Now, when we look at this, if I assume that the price of good is $70, John was willing to pay $100, but he only had to pay $70. Given that he only has to pay $70, John basically saved $30. And that's what we're kind of looking at this week. What are consumers willing to pay minus what they have to pay? And you keep evaluating this based off the table. You also evaluate this mathematically as well. And when you look at this, let me show you a demand curve that we want to focus on. It's anything below the demand curve, right here's the demand curve, and above the price. This area right here is a consumer surplus. Now, if the price decreases, you'll notice that this is all gained right here by consumers. And this will create a big challenge in our economy to figure out the implications of this in terms of how does it affect decisions that we have to make. So you'll notice there's a lot of decisions that we're going to look at with consumer and producer surplus. You'll notice that the role of taxes are very important to evaluate, but those are some of the concepts that we're going to be focusing on. Make sure to take advantage of those 2 attempts, and if you have any questions, let me know, or if you need additional resources, but I look forward to your efforts.